Cursed episode 10. That's it. Season 1 wrapped up. And we had a lot happen in this finale. You know, I was just found myself waiting all episode long for that moment, that very first scene we saw in the show where we see Nimue with the arrows in her chest, her bleeding out in the water. And I just found that like nerve wracking, just waiting for that moment to happen, like seeing like, is that gonna happen? And of course it does. And you're just kind of left thinking, what is next for this series? Because yeah, we got a lot of resolution here, but still so many questions left to answer. And I'm more excited about a season 2 now than I was to jump into season 1. So to me, that is a good way for season 1 of Curse to end. Lots of other action to go on. We'll just kind of go through our main characters here. Arthur, I'd say he was more on the quiet side of our main characters. He goes with the Fae, who have a secured safe passage from Uther Pendragon to some desert place where I don't quite know where that is, but they've secured safe passage. Arthur goes with them, and of course, someone is there to sabotage them, and it is Cumber Pendragon and his forces. So they're there to rain arrows down on all the defenseless Fae. And, I kind of wasn't sure what was going to happen with the Red Spear, and they end up being the ones to show up and save the day for Arthur and his group of Fae. Interested to see like what happens with that sort of storyline. We kind of get that little snippet that the leader of the Red Spears is like that exile from Cumber's court, so she's out for vengeance just on Cumber, and more specifically, it looked like his daughters and the other members of Cumber's court. Next up, Gawain. Just a quick snippet here. We saw Gawain paralyzed, getting tortured in Salt's kitchen, and basically left for dead. His body gets brought to Nimue, thrown on the ground, and Nimue summons some sort of power, and all we see from Gawain is plants rising up from the earth to swallow him whole. So gotta feel like he's gonna be a factor in a second season of this show. And one of those little threads that I wasn't happy to see Gawain die, because we're starting to get all these names of all the knights of the round table, and you want to see them stay alive and come together, because it's interesting to see where all these different characters are coming from. Even the revelation that Squirrel is Percival, and of course he ends up with the Weeping Monk. And I just had this little suspicion in my mind. I was like, I bet we're going to at some point find out Weeping Monk's name, and it's going to be Lancelot. And of course, right at the end of the episode, when Lancelot and Percival are riding away, we find out Lancelot's real name. And that was the one moment I was kind of hoping for this episode, and was glad it was delivered. Also love that whole scene of Lancelot versus the Trinity Guard, or the Trinity Knights, whatever you want to call them. It was like this little moment where we're getting basically introduced to this whole other faction of badass knights that are surely to play a major role in the future of the show. And it was nice to just have that little teaser of them, to see like, hey, they're badass, they're very devout, even more so than the Red Paladins. Like, you thought the Red Paladins are bad, wait till you get to the Trinity Guard. And I really enjoyed that. Who else do we have? Morgana You know, we don't, I really didn't appreciate that we didn't actually get to see Morgana kill the widow. It's just all of a sudden Morgana is the widow, and she's like, I don't know, I can just sense when people are gonna die now. It was kind of weird. That was a cool scene though, when the widow, who was Morgana, shows up with the sword of power, hands it to Nimue to help her along the way on her escape. Merlin. How about we go for some Merlin? You know, Merlin, he goes to Uther to try to get some information, and Uther just basically has him stabbed. Merlin's left for dead, gets saved by Morgana and Nimue, and then we get that scene at the very end of the episode with Merlin holding on to Nimue's arm, him letting Nimue fall, and then seizing the sword of power and proceeding to obliterate red paladins, and then just grab Morgana and just poof, teleports away. See ya. So no clue where he and Morgana are, but he ain't happy, and he's out to murder some paladins and church-going folk. Also, like the little climax for Iris there. You know, Iris was trying to earn her way into the Red Paladins. She ends up being the one who slays Nimue, takes down the Wolfblood Witch, and her reward isn't that she gets entry into the Red Paladins. She totally jumps them, goes to the Trinity Knights, and I like that little tidbit, that little twist to kind of entice that whole faction for a season 2. And honestly, I'm pumped for season 2. I really enjoyed this more and more as we progress through this season, and so excited for there to be a second season. I don't have any info on a second season. I'll have to go look that up later. But yeah, I can't see them not doing a second season because this show turned out fantastic, and yeah, I want more. All right, that is going to wrap up our season or episode 10 recap, the season finale. And hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me spouting my nonsense. And until next time, we will see you later.